Yes, sir, we're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Marvel Legends Spider Build-A-Figure Wave Elektra figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey, I'm fucking with them. Hype beasts, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
7 figures in a wave, but you only need 6 figures to complete the Spider Build-A-Figure. Doc Ock does not come with the Build-A-Figure part. Alright, so I got Elektra out of the package, and I'm pretty happy with this figure for the most part. I mean, I have my normal gripes that I have with the female figures, but this is definitely a step in the right direction, a step up. This was long overdue. We needed an updated Elektra for quite some time, and she's absolutely shitting on everything that came before her, and she looks good. I really do like the head sculpt. I like the complexion. She definitely looks Latin. They gave her a nice little tan, and the sculpt here looks pretty good. It's nothing new as far as the sculpt goes, but for whatever reason, she just looks very good. You can see here in this vanilla stance, she looks really good. Again, my issues are with the lack of articulation. But once I get these size comparisons or these comparisons in general going, you'll see how this figure is pretty much light years ahead of everything that came before her. Her bio reads, shaken by the death of her father, Elektra uses her exceptional skills in the martial arts to become an expert assassin. And Elektra's only accessory are her size, which is fitting. At the very least, she should have these packed in with her. It would have been nice to get a katana or a staff or something extra, or even a different head sculpt with her. That would have been really cool. But these came out pretty good. They're not warped too much. You can see this one's just a little bit bent, but they look pretty good. She can hold them great. You can see how her hand is positioned on the right hand as opposed to the left. And you can switch it up and have her hold them in different ways, so that's cool. And with the articulation with the wrist, you can definitely get some different things going, so that's really cool. And just taking a real good look at this head sculpt, it looks phenomenal. I think it looks really good for Marvel Legends. You can see one little red speck right there in her hair, and one there actually too, but the hair looks pretty good. She's got her silky on. She's got her New York style do-rag on, and that's looking pretty good. I mean, I know we're going to see tons of customizers and kit bashers probably take to this head and give it even more life and make it look even more realistic. But as it stands right now, I do think it is very good and absolutely better than anything we've received before. Just taking a look at the rest of her deco, pretty much the classic Elektra outfit. It would have been nice if these pieces were sculpted on instead of painted on. That's a little lazy. If this was all sculpted on, she would be an even better figure. I would have really liked to see them go the distance as far as that's concerned. Even if the boots were sculpted, that would have been nice. So she still does leave a bit to be desired. But the red hair is vibrant and everything looks pretty good. Articulation. Her head is on a ball joint. That'll come off with no issue. You can see how that ball peg looks. So because of her hair, you're not going to get the greatest range as far as the head going up. It's not going to really go up too far at all, but you can get her to look down, and you can get her to look left and right and get a little bit of pivot on that joint, so that's cool. Shoulders are on the ball joint. They're going to come up just about that far. You can do a full 360. There is no cut at the upper bicep. You do get a single jointed elbow that will swivel on that joint. Swivel and a hinge on the wrist. You get upper torso articulation. It'll go in a circular motion, left to right, forward and back. That's pretty much it. No cut at the waist though, but you can see a T-joint there at the pelvis. So the legs aren't going to come up that far, and a split will look like that. Swivel on the upper thigh. You get a double jointed knee and a hinge and a pivot on the foot. I do feel like she should have had more of a split as far as the pelvis area goes. I mean, this is somebody who will be doing flips and kicks and running and stuff like that. You know, they definitely selling you short by giving you a small amount of articulation. And I saw a lot of people do the arm swap from the Star Wars Black Series Luke and put those arms on the Netflix series Elektra. but this Elektra can use an arm swap, honestly. I hate any character that wields a sword or knives or sais or anything like that that doesn't have double jointed elbows. That just doesn't make any sense. This is obviously a soft piece, and it's cool when it's just, you know, when you have her standing upright, but when you start to get her in some dynamic poses, it doesn't sit right in certain instances, and that looks a little strange. And a couple size comparisons, a little blast from the past here, so you can see how far we've come in the history of Elektra with the Marvel Legends. So on her immediate left, you have the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Elektra, and then there was a variant to her figure on the very far left with the white suit. I think that was supposed to represent when she had got resurrected and came back from the dead originally. If you don't know, spoiler alert, she was killed by Bullseye in the comics at some point. Elektra has such a crazy history and can be inserted into so many different storylines and so many different possibilities as far as displays go. So I think that's why it was important for us to get a decent Elektra. So those are both Toy Biz on the left, the regular version and the variant. And then on the right, this was Hasbro's crack at her, which everybody loved when it first came out, but as you can see, they all look pretty awful in comparison to this new version. And even the one on the right had sort of like a variant version. Elektra played a pretty big role in the Skrull invasion in the comic books, and there was like a Skrull version of this Elektra on the far right as well. I still have her somewhere, but I just didn't break out for the size comparison. But you can see this new one as far as the sculpt and how good she looks, just even standing in a vanilla stance. Just the buck in general. I mean, all of these other ones look so weird and so strangely proportioned, and way too much articulation on the Toy Biz versions. And there's a look at her wave mate on the left. So that's the all new, all different Daredevil on the left. And I didn't break out this Daredevil for Daredevil's review, but this is the old Toy Biz one, and this was the little unmasked head that came with that figure. Focus. Just so you could see that. And that would be cool if it could actually go on this body. Toy Biz still has the better unmasked head, probably. Maybe a little tiny, but it will work if it could actually fit on there if you Dremel it out. And real quick, just so you can see this, obviously this is not going to work. I mean, the newer head looks better on the older body than the older head looks on the newer body. That just looks ridiculous. So you're not going to really be doing that, and I don't know why you would. But another thing I wanted to note was that her skirt part on the newer version is very long. And some of the artists' renditions of the character in the comic books, sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short. I think I would have preferred this to be just a little shorter, similar to the older version. Not that short, but there are even some renditions where she doesn't have a skirt piece at all, and she's just out there with the cakes out. But yeah, and her hands do pop out. These are the older Elektra's hands, which have the fingernails painted, which I thought was a really nice touch for Hasbro during that time. But obviously the skin tones don't match up, so you know, she's definitely more tan and looking way more Latina in this newer version. So you can do some hand swaps, but you'd have to apply some paint or find some that match up a little better. Elektra came out nice. I always give props to Hasbro, to Marvel Legends, when they do improve on an already existing character or figure that we've got previously that was pretty awful. So yeah, they definitely stepped it up. This is one that I would recommend. You have to pick her up if you want to complete the Spider Build-A-Figure. I'm interested to see what people will do as far as kit bashing and swapping parts, and maybe swapping on some arms with double joints. You're definitely going to have to do quite a bit of paint work when you do that. So that's not something that I personally will be partaking in, but I'll be interested to see other people do their thing. And yeah, I'm okay with this figure overall. So I'm ready for Hasbro to give us more characters from the Japanese martial arts sort of realm, Silver Samurai, and let's see if they actually redo some of the hand ninjas. These are the articulated icons, red ninjas that I have here, which work exceptionally well, but people have been speculating for quite some time as to whether or not Hasbro may take another stab at the hand ninjas, so we'll see. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, peace.
crispy.